Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
What's up, family? Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league from the MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts, who's a proud sponsor of the Bossman Show on your radio. All right, folks, back on the Bossman Show, new Idaho State Bengals head coach Charlie Ragle with me in the Bossman Show out there in Idaho. Coach, how you doing? What's going on out there in Idaho, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. We're just in that summer grind, getting these guys in the weight room and out on the field working, just conditioning and just trying to get these guys ready for fall camp here in late July, early August.
I hear that, Coach, man. I'm asking this, man, getting this job back in December, man, how did it make you feel, man, putting all that time, man, such teams coordinator, different jobs over the years, man, all that work you put in finally paying off. How did it make you feel to get this gig, man?
Well, I think that, 23 years I've been coaching, and, I went from high school to a graduate assistant at Arizona State, to getting fired as a staff at Arizona State, back to high school as a head coach for 5 years. And then, the last decade in the Pac-12 at Arizona and Cal, and knowing that I wanted to be, my goal was to be a college head coach. And so, it was just a culmination of really a dream come true and an opportunity to show what I could do at the college level. And I'm excited and very humbled and grateful for the opportunity.
I hear that, Coach. I'm asking this, man. My dad, 82 years old, come August, man. He's a coach as well, and he always talked about he wanted to help young men in Atlanta grow, and who didn't have a figure that was their father, a male in their lives to help them become men and be better men. So for you, Coach, what is your why? Why you coach? Why'd you get in this business, man?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think first and foremost, you get into it as a young man, as a player. And you enjoy playing the game, and as the game you get older, if you're fortunate enough to go on and play college, which I was, that's when the reality, for some guys it starts in high school, their career ends. You go to college and then it ends there. Some guys go on to the NFL, and it eventually, as I tell our kids, football for 99.9% of the guys that play it, football tells you when you're finished. You know, the elite, the very few, even some of the great ones, but the elite, there's a handful that get to tell the game when they're done, and that's a rarity. So when the game was getting ready to tell me I was done, I didn't want to be done, you know, and I just loved the camaraderie, the relationships. And so I knew from a young age, if I couldn't play, I wanted to coach. And that's what I talk about with our kids here. You know, football is about relationships and people, and it helps you. It's just another avenue to help kids, young men be successful in life. And I think as the culture changes and grows to more of a me culture with the social media, and not that there's some good things that come out of it, but there's a lot of, you know, challenging things for the young people with social media and having to, you know, come at them fast at a younger age. So, you know, to me, football is one of the last true sanctuaries where you can help young men learn how to be mentally and physically tough and learn how to be compassionate and build relationships at the same time. And so to me, that's why I do it. It's for the relationships. It's for watching those kids, you know, 10 years from now come back and have gotten married, start a family of their own, and say, man, coach, you made a difference, man. This is something that I always forget. And it's always refreshing to have those young people come back and let you know how much of a difference you make in their lives, because sometimes you get in the thick of it, you forget, you know, and it's always nice to be brought back down to earth and humbled, man. Like, hey, this is really what I'm about.
And coach, I feel like sports changed my life forever, coach, because, you know, sports taught me diversity. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't even meet my first white kids. I was 6 years old playing type of baseball. I didn't meet a Mexican kid till I was 6 years old. So it taught me about different backgrounds. I didn't care about what it was from. I just wanted to get out of the hood, you know, for the weekend, play baseball. And football gave me opportunity to get into sports and go to college. And now I have a radio show that I own for 12 years. So I feel like sports taught me about diversity and people and gave me a platform and opportunity to do what I'm doing today. So I feel like all into sports.
No doubt. I think that's the beauty of sport too, because you have, especially, that's why I tell our guys, you know, and obviously I'm biased as a football coach. I say it's the best team sport there is in the world because it's the largest. And you have so many people from so many diverse backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds. And at the end of the day, on Saturdays, man, that all goes out the window because you're fighting for one cause. And, and that's what real life is. You know, I think as human beings, we fear what we don't know. Right. And to your point, man, like, you know, I grew up in Southwest New Mexico. You know, we had a small town of 1,200 people, whites and Hispanics. Right. So I didn't play sports with a black young man until I went to college. You know what I mean? And then you go in there, you build relationships. And again, I'll come back to that key word. You know, some of those guys, best friends for life, right, man? And like you realize that we're all striving for the same goals, and everybody wants the opportunity to be successful. And therein lies the beauty. If more people were involved in sports and understood that we're all trying to fight for the same things and understand how to get there together, the world would be a lot better place.
And taught me how to speak different languages too at 6 years old. I learned French, Portuguese, and Spanish. So because we all have different backgrounds, and I learned about all that, how we all got where we're at. At 6 years old, coach. Now, baseball taught me all this stuff at 6 years old. That's why I chose football, of course, but it was so great and amazing.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, right? Like, it's not all about the X's and O's. It's so much more about, you know, the afterlife of ball. You know, that's what's the important. It's the lessons that you take away. Yeah, we know at this level we got to win or you get fired. That's just the reality of it, and that's okay. But there is a greater cause, and there's a lot of underlying things that really help young men go off and be successful later in life.
And you've been a special teams coach. You deal with the whole team. Offense, defense, you do it everybody. So that way you build relationships because you build with defense guys, offensive guys. That's a special role too. And I feel like that John Harbaugh shows that with the Ravens about how he can get along with it on both sides of the ball because he had to deal with everybody and special teams head coach.
No, you're exactly right. And that's why, you know, obviously I've got my own motivating factors of why I want to be successful and the things that motivate me internally. But you know, I would like to see more special teams coordinators get opportunities to become head coaches, because I think just what you said, besides the head coach and the strength coach, the only other guy that talks to the entire team and has those relationships with the entire team is a special teams coordinator. And, you know, in order to coach special teams, not that you don't have to be at other positions, but you have to be highly organized. You're dealing with a depth chart at every position. And again, a variety of players off the roster, O-line, D-line, you know, wide receivers, even quarterbacks as holders, you know, you got the whole gamut. So that's personal to me, knowing that some of that wanting to be successful here at Idaho State is that it gives special teams coordinators, you know, hopefully more of an opportunity to become head coaches.
And for you, Coach Charlie, what's going to be the foundation of your team? What you want your guys to have those values that you want to build for you to become Bengals down the road here as you build this thing up even more, man?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. You know, I've got 5 pillars of success, you know, that we'll build this program with, but the last 2 are really, really, really important. And, you know, we talk about the first 3, family, right? The second one is education. And then the third one is football, obviously, right? You came here to get a degree. You're going to leave here with the degree. The third one is obviously what you came here for, is to play football, and how we're going to go about and attacking that. But the last 2, which to me are what's going to define us, is self-discipline, because at the end of the day, you know, 3-4 years from now, when you leave college, 4 or 5 years from now, and you're out of your parents' house and you got a job, ain't nobody waking you up in the morning but yourself. And if you don't have the self-discipline to get up and hold yourself accountable, do the things that you're supposed to do to be a good person, and show up on time and do those little things, you're not going to make it. So we got to be a program that's a self-starter. And then, you know, secondly, we talk about resiliency. You know, we got to be able to take a punch, because we talk about it every day, man. Bad things happen to good people every day. And it's not that, hey, man, it's okay. You know, we're not going to talk about losing. We don't want to say, hey, losing is ever okay, but you learn from losing. There's no shame in getting knocked down. The shame falls in if you don't get yourself back up and get back in the fight. And that's what, you know, we've got to be known for. Now, we talk about it also in 2 fashions is, you know, Cal, we used to say smart and tough. And here it's more of a savvy and tough. You know, I want guys that are savvy. Yeah, we're going to have our guys that are 4.0 students. We're going to have our guys that are 2.3 students. That's okay. If you're performing at a maximum capacity that's your ability, we're good with that. But we want guys that are football savvy, understand the game, the in and outs, and we don't beat ourselves. And then we got to have tough guys, you know, mentally tough, physically tough. You know, you get punched in the face by an opponent, the mental toughness not to retaliate, because 90% of the time what happens, the second guy gets caught. You know, not beating ourselves. You look at college football and more games are lost, in my opinion, than won. You know,
yes.
You give up sacks, turnovers, you know, you commit stupid penalties and put yourself in situations. If you can avoid those things and don't beat yourself, you're going to have a chance to be in a lot of football games and give yourself an opportunity to win. So those are some characteristics that hopefully in a year or 2, well, we know we're starting now, but that those are going to show in our program.
And being out there in Idaho, I feel like you got a lot of talent out there on the West Coast. You can go define players, draw a circle around where you're at, and branch out to Washington there, Oregon as well, go down to Utah, find players, and go to Nevada as well. So talk about finding those key guys who fit your program out there that you want to make sure become Bengals here, help build this Big Sky program even more, man.
Well, I think that you're spot on. We were to a defensive coordinator. We're talking about it today. There's a lot of good football players out there, man, across the country. And, you know, as a 1AA school, right, you know, the pecking order, you know, starts at the top, right, with the Alabamas, the SECs, the Power 5 conferences, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, all that. And then it kind of trickles down to where, hey, where, you know, the group of 5, you know, and then into that, where's the top players at the 1AA level that we got to compete for. And, you know, the thing for me, being a West Coast guy in terms of my whole career, being in Arizona, California, now Idaho, but I've recruited Hawaii, I've recruited Utah, I've recruited Colorado, recruited Texas, you know, so I've been all over the West Coast. And, you know, I think for us, you know, with the major population, you know, 2 hours from here in Salt Lake City, getting down into Utah, that should be a hot spot for us. We'll take a few kids every year out of California. Obviously, we're going to get some kids here out of the state of Idaho every year. You know, that's going to be a priority for us. And then we feel like, hey, you know, we've got some pretty good pool. Obviously, a major part of my career was down in Arizona, ties down there. We can get a few players out of there every year. And then obviously the Northwest, between Washington and Oregon, Montana. We feel like that West Coast footprint will do us right, and we'll be able to get everything we need. And then on top of that, taking a look at the transfer portal or the junior colleges to bring some guys in to infuse talent where we think we need it, at that particular time.
I hear that. I'm asking this, Coach. How has it been to meet you guys, man? I think it's the most fun part is relationships with your players. How's that been doing those balls, those guys now they're out there with you working out, getting ready for fall camp, man? I know you have some get your juices going every day. Don't see your guys really competing for you every day and getting to know you every day even better each day, man.
Well, I think that, when I first got here, right, just like you're taking over a new program in December, and I start meeting the players were on vacation at that point. You start meeting with those guys in January, and I had one-on-one meetings with every player on the team, trying to get to know them a little bit better. And then it's time to go to work in those winter workouts, and you're trying to learn names and faces and build relationships before you start spring ball. And we got that accomplished to a degree. And then we went through spring ball. We tried to do several more team functions, team outings together, again, to understand not just the coaches, but the team, knowing each other. I think with COVID, that kind of changed the game. Guys being, locked down and not being able to spend as much time together. That's what creates that team chemistry. Best teams I've ever coached or been a part of are the teams that love each other and truly have those relationships, and they do things outside of football. And so, it's just a continuation of fostering that from the springtime to the summer. Again, when we had the players got back 2 weeks ago on Sunday, and we had them all over to the house for a barbecue and just spend time together. We've got to continue to do that to enhance those relationships so that when we go out on the field on Saturdays, we're fighting for our brother.
100%, Coach. Got two more for you, man. Talk about Georgia, in particular, the recruiting here in Georgia, the quality of player you get out of Georgia, because I feel like some of the top flight football is played out here in Georgia, and guys are prepared to be plug and play guys coming out of Georgia. And talk about of your years of coaching coming out here since the talent down here in Georgia.
Well, I think, just not just in Georgia, which Georgia to me is one of the premier playing states. I mean, that's, if you know anything about recruiting, that Georgia's a hotbed. And, when I was at the University of Arizona, we dabbled in recruiting Georgia. We were talking earlier before we went into this, right, about the warm temperatures there in Georgia, and similar, in Arizona. So we thought, hey, man, there's some similarities, certain things. Obviously, you got a big city in Atlanta and then the surrounding state. You can get some kids out of Georgia, and the talent level is through the roof. They put an emphasis on football. So what you're getting out of there a lot of times is kids that not only are extremely talented, but are ahead of the curve, so to speak, from a football intellect. So, it's kind of a win-win. And I think when you look at the South, you see that in general, Texas as well. There's certain states that, man, when you go recruit them, the emphasis is on football, and you're going to get yourself most of the time a heck of a football player coming out of those respective states.
Now, last one for you, Coach. Now, I'm going to tell you, my side gig has been a foodie, so I ask you this question about food.
Oh, man. You and I'm going to come to Atlanta. We're going to go get it in because you're right up my alley. And the problem is I got to go to Hawaii here in about 2 weeks. And so I got to trim down about 15 pounds, man. And so I'm hurting right now because I ain't getting my snacks in.
Man, so I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite spot to eat so far up there out of the whole state, man? Who's treated you the best for is giving you guys some food, man, and those restaurants you really love up there so far?
Man, that's a great question. I would say, one of our little sports bar undercover is a place called the Press Box, right, man? And they got real good, like as a sports bar goes, they got real good sports bar food. Always treat us right in there. And then there's a bunch. My one of my top places would be it's a steakhouse, seafood place, the Sandpiper, top notch. There's a teppanyaki, like a place called Fuji, where they bring it right out there. They're on the hot grill right there, making it in front of you. And there's been a couple actually surprising good sushi places. They'll never be like, the last 5 years living in the Bay Area where the sushi is so fresh, man. It's hard to beat. I miss my sushi from the Bay, but those would be a few, man. There's surprisingly, man, there's been some really good places to eat while I've been out here, and that's my sweet spot.
Now, I cover Atlanta Hawks too as part of one of my side gigs. So hopefully when we come play the Utah Jazz, it's in the second half of the year where you're not so deep in coaching. So we can actually hang out in Salt Lake City, man. We come play the Utah Jazz.
You got to hit me up. And if it's in the back, if it's outside of football season, man, I'm going to come down there. I got the spot I'm going to take us to. I got the spot.
No doubt, Coach. We go this recording. I'm gonna give you my numbers. We can stay in contact, man. Yeah, man. I look forward to seeing we can always play the Jazz once a year. So I always come to Salt Lake at least once a year. Come out there, man.
I love it. Look forward to doing that. That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Coach. It was so much fun, my brother.
Appreciate you, man. Take care of yourself.
All right now. What's up, family? Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league from the MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts, who's a proud sponsor of the Bossman Show on your radio.
When you need to do more with less, Upwork helps you hire fast without the overhead. Find expert freelancers in design, marketing, IT, AI, and more. Never tried Upwork? Now's the perfect time. Spend your first $1,000 and get $200 in credit for your next project. No upfront costs, no long-term commitments, just $200 to reinvest in what matters. Go to upwork.com/save to get started. That's UPWORK.com/SAVE. Upwork.com/save.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.